Hello, everyone. It's Valentine's Day, Monday, February 14th. Regretfully, we've lost another 31 people in West Virginia, and we've gone past the 6,000 mark in the state, and surely not something we want to achieve, but the reality is it's what it is. We've lost 6,023 people in the state of West Virginia, and with that, I ask for your prayers for all of them, and I really and truly just want you to reach out to these people if you know them, and let them know that they're not alone, that there's everybody in the state of West Virginia is pulling for them, and if you'll remember them in prayer, I'll promise you some way, somehow, they'll know it. But the 5,993rd death in West Virginia is a 59-year-old male from Harrison County. The 5,994th death, a 64-year-old female from Wood County. The 5,995th death, a 78-year-old female from Braxton County. The 5,996th death, an 80-year-old female from Marion County. The 5,997th death, a 67-year-old male from Wood County. The 5,998th death, a 90-year-old female from Putnam County. The 5,999th death, a 79-year-old male from Cabell County. The 6,000th death in West Virginia is a 90-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,001st death is a 79-year-old female from Hancock County. The 6,002nd death is a 72-year-old female from Taylor County. The 6,003rd death, a 68-year-old male from Cabell County. The 6,004th death, a 64-year-old male from Jackson County. The 6,005th death, a 54-year-old male from Greenbrier County. The 6,006th death, an 89-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,007th death is an 87-year-old male from Jackson County. The 6,008th death is a 96-year-old female from Fayette County. The 6,009th death, an 85-year-old female from Doddridge County. The 6,010th death, a 91-year-old male from Wood County. The 6,011th death is an 84-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,012th death, a 75-year-old female from Harrison County. The 6,013th death is a 56-year-old male from Harrison County. The 6,014th death is a 96-year-old male from Mingo County. The 6,015th death, a 68-year-old male from Harrison County. The 6,016th death, a 72-year-old female from Fayette County. The 6,017th death, a 71-year-old female from Cabell County. The 6,018th death, an 82-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 6,019th death, an 86-year-old male from Wood County. The 6,020th death, a 78-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 6,021st death, a 57-year-old male from Greenbrier County. The 6,022nd death, a 64-year-old male from Fayette County. And the 6,023rd death is an 85-year-old male from Lincoln County. It just seems so useless. I really don't know. I mean, I don't have any way of knowing exactly the evidence, but we all know that we feel like at least, that this started in China. China let people travel all over the world and everything, knowing just how bad this was, and then at least for what we know. Now, I mean, all I know is what the experts report and all the stuff on the news and all across our different media outlets, but nevertheless, it's a sad situation with all the events that have taken place in West Virginia. I mean, we have lost 6,023 great West Virginians, and it rips my heart out in so many ways, and I just hate it. You'll hear me read through these, and other than the fact that when we read someone that's really young that's passed away, I don't want to pause at all, when we've gone past 6,000 people, because really and truly, it's to me, it's nothing that we want to give any level of salute or whatever to losing 6,000 or 5,000 or whatever it may be. It's tragic. It's tragic, and so we just got to keep moving on, But there's nothing in any way positive about losing the 6,000th person or the 5,000th person. It's just terrible sad. We've got 7,262 active cases. We've got 897 new positive cases. We must have not tested a lot, but our daily positivity rate, 15.25. Our cumulative is at 8.35. Remember, we wanted our cumulative all the time below 5. At 8.35, it doesn't sound like much, but that's a tremendous amount. We have recovered cases of 463,672 in West Virginia. Can you just imagine? That's a fourth of our entire population that are recovered cases in West Virginia. A fourth of the whole population of West Virginia has had COVID and recovered. It's mind-boggling when you just think about it. 779 people in the hospital right now, 100 in the ICU units, 113 that are on ventilators. Our map is getting surely better. We only have one red county now. We've got 6 green counties. That's all better. Again, we thank our National Guard. My goodness gracious, how could we have made it without them? And how can we make it without them? And no matter what it may be, the next winter storm, the next flood, whatever it may be. 326 Guard members that we have out right now deployed in 36 facilities that are propping up our hospitals. I tell you about your free home kits and everything. You can go to our COVID-test.gov, and we can we can help you be able to get those free home test kits. Your N95 mask. You should be able to go to the pharmacies or the community health centers and get those. You can get 3 per person. I've told you about the antibodies. They discontinued some of the antibodies. We've still got a couple of the pills, the oral pills you take, and one brand of antibody that we can give. I remind you over and over that if you're 65 and above and you get feeling the least bit bad, please go get a test. If you can get a test and we find out you're positive, we can probably really, really help try to in every way prevent, losing you and or bad hospitalization. But I continue to remind everybody about your booster shot. It is so important. We've been through that in a million different ways, but at the end of the day, it's the one very thing that I do not understand. I do not understand how you can walk away from the booster shot being fully vaccinated and walk away. It is absolutely a terrible choice, especially if you're 50 and above, 65 and above. It is an absolute horrible choice to not get your booster shot. We're still continue to making progress, with getting people across the finish line, getting them vaccinated. We're at 71.2%. We've ticked up another tenth there of the people 18 and older. We're at 82.6%. We've jumped 2 or 3 tenths right there. And we're at 89.9% of our 65 and olders. And, all that's really, it continues to move. It doesn't move quick enough, that's for sure. But every day we can get somebody else across the finish line. It may very well be somebody's life that we're saving. So it's important stuff. All the information on our COVID vaccine line is up. I encourage you to to get tested. It's all free. You know, take advantage of that, please. We have 159 outbreaks in our long-term care facilities. We have no outbreaks in our church community right now, which is really good. We have 523 inmate cases at 25 facilities and 116 staff cases. That's almost half of what we had, just a few days ago. So we continue to salute corrections, all the great work that those folks do, and we thank them. We thank them all in every way. From the standpoint of our rental assistance program, we are absolutely trying every way we possibly can to ramp this up. Erica Bogus was on the other day, and she surely has gotten word from the mountain in every way that I know she's done great work. She continues to do great work, but we got to do better. That's all there is to it. We just have to do better. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue to, no matter if we've got to triple the triple, and that what we said early, with workforce or with the Guard doing their stuff that they were doing and all the different things. So we're going to continue to try to help anybody and everybody that's a renter that's out there that's struggling. If we can help those folks, it's great. If it's a landlord that's not getting rent paid, that's struggling, we want to help you. And every dollar we bring back into the state, federal dollars back into the state, will help the state of West Virginia in every way. I encourage you about giving blood. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we need you. We need you to think about giving blood. Our Job Jumpstart program is up and going, and you can apply, and it's just as simple. I know we're at historic lows as far as unemployment in our state, but there's still a good many folks out there that we can get back, and so we try to appeal. We've got another incentive program. You can get $1,500. If you can get a job, stay on a job for at least 8 weeks. And then what we hope more than anything, and this was really successful in Oklahoma, we're just copying this from Oklahoma. But nevertheless, this program really worked in Oklahoma, and if we can bring it to West Virginia, what we really hope more than anything is we can get people back to work. They'll enjoy the work. The employers will really benefit from the fact that they're back to work, and with all that and everything, we hope they'll work for years and years to come. I'm a real believer in this, and I don't really understand people that just, fail to do this in their life. But I'm a real believer in if you're really struggling trying to figure out what to do on something, go find somebody that's doing it the way you want it to be done. Go find somebody that's incredibly successful at what they've done, and then either copy what they're doing, mimic what they're doing, or get a hold of them and let them educate you on how to do it, whatever it may be. That's why we turned to Oklahoma in this situation. We saw what they were doing, and they were pulling people back, and lo and behold, we're going to give it a try. Now, I'm always good for telling you stories. I want to tell you this real quick. But in 1978, that's when 1977 rather, that's when our family started in the farming business. Well, you know me, I may not look it, but I'm the most competitive human being that you have ever seen or ever heard in your life. Now, with all that, I tell you just this. In 1978, we grew our first crops. In 1979, there was a fella, his name's Eldon Pribble. He's from Iowa City, Iowa. And Eldon won the National Corn Growers Yield Contest. It doesn't sound like a great big deal here in West Virginia because, we sure don't have all that many grain farmers in West Virginia. But in the scope of across this nation, there are thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people that compete in this competition and everything, and it's a promotion from the national corn growers all across the country. He won it. He won the national championship. Well, I had these little seed books with his picture in them and all the varieties that he won with and all that stuff. So I called him. I called him on the phone, and lo and behold, he answered, and the nicest man, and we became incredible friends, really incredible, lifelong friends. But I asked him everything he was doing. In 1979, he won the national championship. In 1980, the very single next year, I followed all of his playbook to a T. And can you imagine? From West Virginia in 1980, we were the national yield champions. So I tell everybody, you know, if you've got a problem, you better find somebody that knows what in the crap we're doing. And then right behind all that, once you find them, I would reach out and see if they'll help you. And if they can't help you, and you can't talk to them or whatever, then I'd be all about trying to copy what they're doing. Because if they've got it right, then, and you're struggling and trying to figure it out, you can make big headway doing just that. That's why we absolutely reached out to Oklahoma on the Jumpstart program. Now, I've got this to report. Baby dog thinks she got a tough call. I don't know the kid's name, but number 55 on the defensive holding call, the first defensive holding call that they called, right near the goal line, but with that, she acknowledges she got an awfully good call in the game when the referee missed that face mask, which should have been, a call that went the Rams' way, and it was a big time miss by the referees. I think 55's name is Logan Wilson, but Cincinnati played an incredible game. The Rams played an incredible game. And all Baby Dog can say to you is all those out there that went with Baby Dog's prediction as far as the game goes, and all of you that indulge in sports betting, Baby Dog covered, you won and everything, because you should have had a 4.5 point spot when the game started and everything. And so the Bengals, we congratulate them. We absolutely congratulate the LA Rams. It was a great game and everything, and I hope everyone enjoyed. Now, the schedule for this week, we're going to go with a briefing on Thursday. Like I said, I've got to do a eulogy on Wednesday that we lost a great man. I mean, a real godly, wonderful man. 95 years old. My uncle opposed Perry, and so I'm gonna do his funeral, or do part of the funeral on Wednesday afternoon, and so we'll come back to you on Thursday. Nevertheless, that's all I got. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you, Governor. Let's now go to Dr. Clay Marsh, our coronavirus czar.
Good morning. As the governor has alluded, we in West Virginia are also seeing the reduction in the number of new cases on a daily basis. Our hospital numbers are going down, but we also just exceeded 6,000 deaths, which is really very, very sad, given that many of these deaths could have been prevented by people choosing to be fully vaccinated and boosted. As we look at at COVID in the US, we also see that hospitalizations are going down in the country. And importantly, we have now started to see the number of average daily deaths go down. We got up as high as about 3/4 of our all-time high, which was in the pre-vaccine days. But the good news is that the death rate from COVID on an average daily, on a weekly average, is going down. In West Virginia, we anticipate that will also be what we experience, but maybe not for a week or two, which is the reason why it's so important for people to choose to be fully vaccinated and to get their third dose if they haven't, particularly if you're over 50 years of age. There is a new monoclonal antibody that has been approved for emergency use authorization by the FDA, a Lilly antibody. And this antibody now is held in reserve if you don't have other treatments. The sotrovimab, which is from GlaxoSmithKline, and the Paxlovid and the remdesivir all are still the preferred treatments if we do catch somebody who is at risk for severe side effects in that 5 days from the beginning of symptoms, which is the reason why it's still important to go ahead and get tested. A study was done in the latter part of 2021 from July to the end of the year in 2021. And the projection is there's about 135,000 excess deaths in our country, which at least in large part was likely due to COVID-19. And this is a way from a statistics standpoint, you can identify people that may not have chosen to get tested or who may not have reported their test with the advent of home testing. But that would take us, if that would be accurate, over 1 million people that would have died so far from COVID-19. We're approaching 920,000 now. So again, COVID-19 remains with us. We see the Omicron variant being the dominant variant. We do see the cases and the hospitalizations starting to reduce. Deaths in West Virginia, not quite yet. And really important that people make that decision to protect themselves, particularly the people over 50 years old who are the most vulnerable for severe illness and hospitalization and death. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Marsh. Next, we'll go to retired Major General Jim Hoyer, the director of our Joint Interagency Task Force.
Good morning. As the governor pointed out, over 326 National Guard personnel still working in our hospitals and long-term care facilities. We will continue with the Guard with that mission for the foreseeable future. Continues to be very successful in the feedback or the support they're providing. We don't see any or envision any immediate changes right now. As was pointed out, our hospital numbers are continuing to drop. We appear to be stair-stepping our way down. So we hit certain plateaus and then back down again, but exceptionally positive direction that we're starting to move. As the governor pointed out, we still slowly but surely continue to hit third shots on those over age 50 and even continue now with some additional first doses in our over age 18 population and very slow movement going forward with our 5 to 17-year-olds. As Dr. Marsh pointed out, a new antibody is available. We've been notified that the federal government will release 50,000 courses or doses of that new antibody, but we have yet to get an exact number on what we will get. But again, as Dr. Marsh pointed out, it is unique in that it is to be held in reserve as a last resort and use the availability of the other doses first. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, we also have Secretary Bill Crouch and Dr. Ayn Amjad joining us today. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first today from Paul Mullen with WCBC.
Good morning, everybody. Governor, it's good to know that you're not going to send baby dog off to live with Bette Midler for a week. That would not be good. A question I have today is about the weather coming up. We're about to enter warmer weather, which usually portends well for COVID-19 infection and dropping that rate even additionally. I want to know if the panel believes that is a good forecast coming up here, and if that may lend itself to us getting to a stage where we're more epidemic than pandemic. Thank you.
I think maybe Dr. Marsh, maybe you could go again, please.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Paul. Certainly, Paul, as the weather warms up and people are able to move from inside around each other to outside, we know that the spread of any kind of respiratory virus like COVID-19 would be improved. So that is indeed the good news. I think the other good news, at least at this point, is it does look like that the current Omicron variant induced surge is starting to reduce around the country. And we have seen signs that that is also happening in West Virginia. What we need to continue to monitor, though, is what happens next. COVID-19 has proven to be a very capable virus to continue to navigate any types of treatment or any reduced amount of spread that it can get. So before we sort of go from pandemic to epidemic, maybe to more endemic, we will need to very closely follow what the virus does. But Paul, as you point out, that is good for us to have warmer weather and to be able to get people out of doors.
All right, thank you, Paul. Next to Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young with WV News. My question is for General Hoyer. I know you said that we weren't planning on any changes to the National Guard's mission right now or for the foreseeable future, but could you tell us what may trigger a reduction in the Guard's assistance at the hospitals? Is there a certain hospitalization number we're aiming for? Thank you.
General, please.
Yes, sir, Governor. So, Charles, we'll continue to have discussions with hospital leadership, and we will look at both the numbers in the hospitals as they continue to reduce, but we also have to watch the numbers related to staffing shortages, as both related to just the overall nature of shortages of nurses and other professionals nationally, but also related to those being out for COVID. So at this point in time, the actual numbers will be triggered by multiple factors. And I think later at the end of this week, we'll have some discussions with the Hospital Association and the hospitals, and then make some recommendations to the governor going forward.
All right, thank you, Charles. Next, we'll go to Kenny Bass with WCHS and Fox 11.
Hi, quick question about the Mount Olive with the continuing water problems with the Gully Bridge, PSD, and water shortages for inmates happening multiple times over the past several weeks. How big of a priority is this that either the Gully PSD is either brought to form or made to service them with the water needs of the inmates and staff, or how close are we to a turnover where we give the water facility rights to West American Water, which might be able to handle it better? Gotten several messages from people concerned about the loved ones who are in that facility. In addition to COVID, obviously, they're very worried about the water situation. So, Governor, if there's any word on what's going on at Mount Olive, I'd appreciate getting that so we could share it with them. Thank you.
Jordan, are you back to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, let me just say this in regard to that. You know, our PSC and DCR are working on this issue, and there are leaks at the local PSDs, but they're being fixed. That's all the information I've got on that. Oh, I would like to add one other thing, Kenny. I really appreciate the invitation to the performance and everything that you guys were having and everything, and I would have loved to have come and everything, but we just couldn't pull it off. But nevertheless, you know, congratulations again. I do appreciate the invitation. Dr. Amjad, if you could maybe fill in more, you know, on Kenny's question too, please.
Yes, Governor. Kenny, the Gully PSD and the Kanawha PSD, they were working over the weekend to check the leaks on that. I did speak with Commissioner Jividen this morning about it. So it is a priority for us at Mount Olive to make sure the inmates and the staff do have clean water there. So that is a top concern. We've been talking with Secretary Sandy, Commissioner Jividen, and the Department of Corrections for at least the past week right now. But the PSDs have been checking for leaks all weekend there. There's a meeting there today, and we're going to stay on top of it. But we've been talking with them for the past week or so about it to make sure they have clean water and access. But that is a concern for us. So.
All right, thank you, Kenny. Next, we'll go to Evan Bevins with Ogden Newspapers.
Thank you. I was wondering if Dr. Marsh could elaborate on the new antibody treatment, what makes it different, why it's recommended to be held in reserve.
Dr. Marsh, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Evan. So the new antibody is called Bebtelovimab, and it is an antibody that was really tested most heavily during the Delta component of the pandemic response. And what it showed during the Delta phase were that people who had risk of more severe consequences when they got the antibody had a reduction in their symptom time, and also they had a reduction in the amount of virus that was present when they measured it in their bloodstream. Since that happened, the antibody does have very good binding characteristics to the Omicron variant as well. And because of the challenges we've had with the production of sotrovimab, which is the antibody made by GSK that showed a 90% reduction in severe consequences and hospitalizations. But because that antibody is in relatively still short supply, the FDA, because of the results of the Bebtelovimab, the new antibody related to Delta, and the beneficial binding characteristics and neutralization of the Omicron variant, even though it hasn't been given that clinical trial data with Omicron, the FDA decided to give emergency use authorization, but made it clear that the sotrovimab, the Paxlovid, the remdesivir, the three treatments we have, which is the monoclonal antibody, sotrovimab, the oral pill from Pfizer, Paxlovid, and the antiviral from Gilead, remdesivir, are really the preferable three first choices. But if you don't have access to those treatments and you have somebody who's at risk of severe consequences, they did grant the Bebtelovimab an EUA, emergency use authorization, to be used if need be. So that's the story on that new monoclonal antibody.
All right, thank you, Evan. Governor, I'll turn it back to you.
Well, I don't really have anything, additional to say other than, the fact that it's Valentine's Day, and I surely wish everyone a really happy Valentine's Day, and Baby Dog does too, without any question. She loves everybody, and that's that. I've said it a million times, but I don't know how there could have ever been a better message. I mean, we pick up stuff a lot of different ways. You market stuff a lot of different ways, but if you'll just look for just a second and look at Baby Dog's face, she makes you smile. It's a pretty unusual face and everything, but she makes you smile. And right on behind all that and everything, really and truly, she, without any question, loves everybody. Doesn't matter their views, doesn't matter their race, doesn't matter anything. She loves everybody. Well, literally, should we not all be exactly that way? I mean, really and truly. And so, Paul, I always really try to pay really close attention. I always do, to everybody's comments and everything people are saying. I did not get what you said, earlier when you were speaking about Baby Dog about something. I think maybe you mentioned warmer weather or whatever like that, and but I didn't get it. And I've got to tell you this though. She loves the snow. I mean, this thing right here loves the snow. But nevertheless, Paul, I surely hope and look forward to warmer, nicer weather. Anyway, that's all I got, everybody. But again, I thank you so much and ask again for your prayers for, my uncle. And I ask you for your prayers in so many ways for 6,023 great West Virginians that we've lost. It's a crying shame, and I hope we absolutely will do everything we possibly can to remember these great people and all the wisdom and all the fun times, all the laughter, all the goodness that they brought us. And so please be with their loved ones. It's really important stuff. Thank you so much.